Most people believe success is about being smart. They believe the winners are the ones who make the best decisions, take the boldest risks, and act with perfect timing. But this book begins with an uncomfortable truth. You can be intelligent, you can be right, you can even make the correct decision and still lose everything. Because success is not controlled by brilliance alone. It is controlled by survival. In the real world, the game does not reward those who are occasionally right. It rewards those who are never wiped out. One bad decision, one unlucky moment, one risk taken at the wrong time, and years of effort can disappear. This is why this book is not about how to win fast. It is about how to stay alive long enough to win. Because in finance and in life, the biggest mistake is not being wrong. The biggest mistake is taking a risk that removes you from the game entirely. Most people underestimate this truth. They focus on returns, not risks. They chase upside without respecting downside. They admire bold success stories while ignoring the countless failures that came before them. But this book asks you to look at the game differently. It asks you to stop asking, "How much can I gain?" and start asking, "How much can I afford to lose?" and still continue. Because survival is invisible. You never notice it when it works. You only notice it when it fails. The people who last are rarely the loudest. They are not always the smartest. They are the ones who avoided catastrophic mistakes. This book will challenge the way you think about money, risk, and success. It will show you why endurance beats intelligence, why patience outperforms prediction, and why avoiding failure matters more than chasing perfection. If you have ever wondered why some people keep winning over decades while others disappear after one bad decision, this book will give you the answer. And if you want to understand how to design a financial life that survives uncertainty, volatility, and bad luck, then stay with this book, because the real winners are not the ones who flip the coin correctly. They are the ones who are still standing after the coin has been flipped thousands of times. And if you value deep thinking, long-term wisdom, and ideas that protect you from silent financial traps, this book is where your journey begins. Why survival beats intelligence. Intelligence is admired because it feels visible. You can measure it. You can test it. You can point to decisions and say, "That was smart." Survival, on the other hand, is quiet. You rarely notice it when it works. There is no applause for avoiding disaster. No recognition for risks that were never taken. Yet survival is the foundation upon which all success is built. This book makes a critical distinction. Being smart is not the same as staying in the game. Many intelligent people fail not because they lack insight, but because they expose themselves to risks that intelligence alone cannot control. Markets do not reward intelligence consistently. They reward durability. Luck plays a larger role than most people are comfortable admitting. Two people can make equally rational decisions and experience completely different outcomes simply because timing and chance intervened. This is why intelligence without risk control is fragile. Fragile systems perform well under ideal conditions, but collapse when conditions change. Survival-focused systems are different. They assume uncertainty. They expect volatility. They are designed to withstand bad luck. The book explains that the most dangerous risks are not obvious ones. They are risks that feel reasonable, especially when recent success creates confidence. Confidence often leads people to increase exposure. They bet more. They narrow margins. They assume favorable outcomes will continue. This is how intelligent people get wiped out, not because they were foolish, but because they underestimated the role of randomness. Survival requires humility. It requires accepting that no amount of intelligence can eliminate uncertainty. This acceptance changes behavior. Instead of asking, "What is the smartest move right now?" survival-oriented thinkers ask, "What could permanently remove me from the game?" This question shifts focus from optimization to preservation. Preservation does not mean avoiding all risk. It means avoiding irreversible risk. The book highlights that many financial disasters were preceded by long periods of apparent success. People were doing everything right. Their models made sense. Their assumptions seemed reasonable. Then one rare event occurred, And because exposure was too high, recovery became impossible. This is why survival beats intelligence. Intelligence helps you make good decisions. Survival allows you to make decisions again. Without survival, intelligence has no second chance. The book uses a powerful idea. Success compounds only if you are still around to experience it. Compounding requires time. Time requires survival. This is why avoiding large losses matters more than achieving occasional big wins. Losses have asymmetric effects. A 50% loss requires a 100% gain to recover. A total loss has no recovery. Survival-focused thinking treats downside differently. It respects the fact that some mistakes are too costly to learn from. This is not pessimism. It is realism. Realism accepts that outcomes are not always proportional to effort or insight. People who survive long enough benefit from the law of averages. Even modest decisions, when repeated safely over time, produce extraordinary results. This is the hidden advantage of endurance. The book contrasts two mindsets. One seeks to maximize returns. The other seeks to minimize ruin. The first may outperform in the short term. The second almost always wins in the long term, because time favors those who remain. Survival also changes emotional behavior. When ruin is avoided, fear decreases. Lower fear leads to better decisions. Better decisions compound. This feedback loop is unavailable to those who take existential risks. The book emphasizes that intelligence is still valuable, but only when paired with restraint. Intelligence without limits invites disaster. Intelligence with boundaries creates resilience. The most successful long-term investors are rarely the most brilliant analysts. They are the ones who stayed solvent through uncertainty, crashes, and bad luck. They survived long enough for probability to work in their favor. This is why the book insists that the first rule of money is not how to make it. It is how not to lose it. Because the game is not won by the smartest move. It is won by staying in the game long enough for winning to become inevitable. The asymmetry of risk and reward. One of the most misunderstood ideas in money is the imbalance between risk and reward. People assume that gains and losses are symmetrical. They are not. A loss hurts more than an equivalent gain helps, and the larger the loss, the harder it becomes to recover. This asymmetry is why survival matters so deeply. When you lose 10%, you need a little more than 10% to recover. When you lose 50%, you need 100% just to break even. And when you lose everything, there is no recovery at all. This is not theory. It is mathematics. Yet most people ignore this reality because they focus on upside. Upside is exciting. It is visible. It is easy to imagine. Downside is uncomfortable. It is abstract. It feels unlikely, so people discount it. The book emphasizes that this imbalance is the silent killer of long-term success. Small, repeated gains compound slowly. Large losses compound instantly. This is why one bad decision can erase years of discipline. It is also why the smartest strategy is often not to maximize gains, but to minimize catastrophic losses. The asymmetry of risk means that avoiding ruin is more important than chasing exceptional returns. This idea feels conservative, but it is profoundly practical. People who respect asymmetry structure their lives differently. They limit exposure. They diversify outcomes. They avoid bets that have extreme downside, not because they fear risk, but because they understand consequences. The book explains that many people fail not because they took risks, but because they took risks that were too concentrated. They bet too much on a single outcome. They assumed that being right was enough, but correctness does not guarantee survival. Randomness does not care about confidence. This is why asymmetry punishes overconfidence. When success has been frequent, people increase stakes. They narrow margins. They assume favorable outcomes will continue. This behavior feels logical in the moment. It is often justified with data, models, and stories. But asymmetry waits quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not negotiate. It appears when conditions change, and when it does, recovery may no longer be possible. The book highlights that asymmetry also affects psychology. Large losses change behavior. They create fear. They reduce confidence. They distort future decisions. Even if recovery is technically possible, emotionally it becomes difficult. This is why many people never recover from a major financial setback, not because the numbers made it impossible, but because the experience altered their risk tolerance. Survival avoids this trap. By limiting losses, you preserve not only capital, but clarity. Clarity allows you to continue making rational decisions. This is another hidden advantage of minimizing downside. The book contrasts two approaches. One focuses on how much can be gained. The other focuses on how much can be lost. The first may win occasionally. The second avoids disaster consistently. Over time, consistency wins. Asymmetry also explains why long-term success often looks boring. The people who last rarely make extreme moves. They accept modest returns. They avoid spectacular risks. They prioritize staying power. From the outside, this approach may appear slow, but time amplifies it. Because when losses are controlled, gains have the opportunity to compound. The book makes a crucial point here. You do not need to be exceptional to succeed over the long term. You need to avoid being eliminated. This reframes ambition. Instead of asking, "How do I win big?" the better question becomes, "How do I make sure I am still here?" Asymmetry makes this question unavoidable. It reminds us that the cost of failure is often higher than the reward of success. Understanding this changes behavior. People become more patient. They become more selective. They become less reactive. They stop mistaking volatility for opportunity. This does not eliminate risk. It manages it. The book argues that true confidence comes from knowing that a mistake will not destroy you. That knowledge allows calm. Calm leads to better decisions. Better decisions, repeated over time, produce results that no single bold move can match. Asymmetry is not something to be defeated. It is something to be respected. Those who respect it survive. Those who ignore it eventually learn, often too late. This is why the smartest financial strategy is not the one with the highest upside. It is the one that protects you from the kind of loss that ends the game. Why most people overestimate their edge. One of the most dangerous assumptions in finance is the belief that you have an edge. An edge implies advantage. It suggests skill, insight, or superior judgment that allows you to outperform others consistently. But the book challenges this belief directly. Most people overestimate how much of their success comes from skill and underestimate how much comes from luck. This misunderstanding creates false confidence. Confidence itself is not harmful, but confidence built on a distorted view of reality is extremely fragile. When people believe they have an edge, they increase risk. They bet more. They concentrate positions. They reduce margins of safety. They do this not recklessly, but logically, based on their belief that they are more likely to be right. The problem is that markets are noisy. Outcomes are influenced by countless variables, many of which cannot be predicted or controlled. Even the best analysis cannot isolate skill from randomness in the short term. This is why short-term success is a poor measure of long-term ability. The book explains that people often mistake favorable outcomes for proof of superior skill. A few good results reinforce the illusion of control. People begin attributing success to intelligence, timing, or insight, while dismissing the role of chance. This attribution error is deeply human. We prefer narratives where effort leads to reward and intelligence leads to success. But reality is messier. Luck amplifies outcomes, both positive and negative. Those who experience early success are especially vulnerable to overestimating their edge. They have not yet encountered adversity. They have not been tested by extended volatility, unfavorable cycles, or rare but devastating events. Without these experiences, confidence grows unchecked. The book emphasizes that real edges are rare. They are not obvious. They are difficult to maintain, and they often disappear once they are widely recognized. If an advantage is visible, it is usually temporary. Markets adapt. Competition increases. Opportunities compress. This is why relying on an assumed edge is dangerous. When the edge disappears, exposure remains, and exposure without an edge leads to losses. The book contrasts perceived edges with structural advantages. Structural advantages do not depend on prediction. They depend on positioning, lower costs, longer time horizons, greater flexibility, reduced need for immediate returns. These advantages persist even when predictions fail. People with structural advantages do not need to be right often. They only need to avoid being wrong in ways that are irreversible. This again brings the focus back to survival. Survival does not require superiority. It requires humility. Humility acknowledges uncertainty. It accepts that outcomes are influenced by factors beyond personal control. This acceptance leads to restraint. Restraint limits exposure. It preserves optionality. It reduces the cost of being wrong. The book makes an important observation. Those who survive long enough eventually benefit from luck. Luck is not evenly distributed in the short term, but over long periods, randomness smooths out. Those who are still present when luck turns favorable appear skilled in hindsight. But their real advantage was not brilliance. It was endurance. Overestimating an edge often leads people to abandon discipline. They take shortcuts. They break rules. They assume rules are for others. This is how intelligent people sabotage themselves. The book encourages a different mindset. Instead of asking, "What is my edge?" ask, "What assumptions am I making about my edge?" This question introduces skepticism. Skepticism protects against overconfidence. It forces people to stress test decisions against unfavorable scenarios. What happens if you are wrong? What happens if conditions change? What happens if your advantage disappears? These questions reduce risk. They do not eliminate opportunity. They preserve survival. The book does not argue that skill is irrelevant. Skill matters. Experience matters. Learning matters. But skill only compounds when you remain in the game. Overestimating your edge is one of the fastest ways to leave it. The paradox is that those who assume less advantage often perform better over time. They are cautious. They diversify. They plan for uncertainty. They build systems that work even when predictions fail. This approach may feel less exciting. It does not produce dramatic wins, but it produces longevity, and longevity is the most reliable edge of all. The role of luck you can't see. Luck is one of the most uncomfortable topics in success. People prefer stories of skill, discipline, and intelligence. Luck feels unfair. It feels random, and it threatens the idea that outcomes are fully earned. Because of this discomfort, luck is often ignored, especially when things go well. But this book insists on a crucial truth. Luck plays a larger role in success than most people are willing to admit. The problem is not luck itself. The problem is invisible luck. Visible luck is easy to recognize. A lottery win, an unexpected windfall, a sudden opportunity. Invisible luck is harder to see. It hides inside timing, inside who you met early, inside which risks failed quietly and which ones never had the chance to occur. Invisible luck shapes outcomes without leaving fingerprints. This is why people often misunderstand success. They see survivors. They see winners. They see stories that ended well. What they do not see are the countless parallel paths where the same strategies led to failure. This is known as survivorship bias. Survivorship bias occurs when we study only those who succeeded and ignore those who disappeared. The book explains that most success stories are incomplete by definition. They tell us what worked for those who survived. They do not tell us how many tried the same approach and failed. This creates dangerous lessons. People copy strategies without accounting for the role of luck. They assume repeatability where randomness played a decisive role. This is especially dangerous in finance. Markets reward outcomes, not intentions. Two people can take identical risks. One succeeds, the other fails. The difference may not be skill. It may be timing, environment, or chance. Yet the winner is celebrated and the loser is forgotten. Over time, this distorts perception. People begin to believe that bold risk-taking is always rewarded. They see the upside stories and ignore the silent failures. This selective memory encourages exposure. The book emphasizes that luck is not evenly distributed over time. It clusters. Some periods are unusually favorable, others are unforgiving. People who experience early luck often mistake it for permanent advantage. They scale too fast. They increase risk. They assume the environment will remain supportive. But luck changes. When conditions shift, strategies that once worked can suddenly fail. Those who survive these shifts are often not the most aggressive. They are the ones who built buffers for when luck turns. This is why survival matters more than brilliance. Survival gives luck time to average out. Over long periods, good and bad luck tend to balance. But this balancing only helps those who are still present. If a single unlucky event removes you from the game, future luck becomes irrelevant. The book also points out that invisible luck works in both directions. People who fail often blame themselves excessively. They assume poor outcomes reflect poor decisions. Sometimes this is true, but sometimes failure is simply bad luck. Recognizing this reduces unnecessary guilt and improves learning. When people understand the role of luck, they become less arrogant in success and less harsh in failure. This emotional balance improves decision-making. It encourages humility. Humility leads to diversification, moderation, and respect for uncertainty. These behaviors improve survival. The book does not suggest that luck eliminates responsibility. Decisions still matter. Preparation still matters. Discipline still matters. But outcomes are never purely controlled. This is why strategies should be designed to survive randomness, not defeat it. Trying to outsmart luck is less effective than preparing for it. Preparation means limiting exposure. It means avoiding bets that require everything to go right. It means accepting that some outcomes are outside your control. This acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. People who respect invisible luck build systems that can absorb shocks. They assume surprises will occur. They do not depend on perfect conditions. This mindset changes behavior. Instead of asking, "How do I maximize returns?" they ask, "How do I make sure bad luck doesn't end me?" This question reframes success. It shifts focus from short-term wins to long-term survival. The book makes a powerful observation here. History is written by survivors, and survivors are not always the smartest. They are the ones who stayed alive long enough for luck to eventually favor them. This is why endurance often looks like genius in hindsight. But in reality, it was patience combined with protection. Understanding the role of invisible luck does not reduce ambition. It refines it. It replaces reckless confidence with durable strategy. And durability is the quiet force behind every lasting success. Why extreme risks end careers. Extreme risks are rarely taken with the intention to fail. They are usually taken with confidence. Confidence that the odds are favorable. Confidence that experience is sufficient. Confidence that past success will repeat. But this book draws a sharp line between risk and ruin. Risk is exposure with recovery. Ruin is exposure without a second chance. The danger of extreme risks is not that they fail often. It is that when they fail, they end the game. Careers, portfolios, and reputations are not destroyed by small mistakes. They are destroyed by concentrated bets that allow no room for error. The book explains that extreme risks are attractive because they promise speed, faster gains, faster recognition, faster progress. But speed compresses margins. It reduces the time available to adapt. It amplifies the impact of randomness. It magnifies the cost of being wrong. This is why extreme risks are incompatible with long-term survival. They demand perfection. And perfection is not realistic in environments governed by chance. Many people justify extreme risks by pointing to probability. They argue that the likelihood of failure is low, but probability alone is misleading. What matters is not how often something fails, but what happens when it does. A risk that fails rarely but destroys everything when it fails is far more dangerous than a risk that fails frequently but allows recovery. The book emphasizes this asymmetry. Extreme risks create asymmetric consequences. They exchange frequent small wins for rare catastrophic losses. This trade-off looks attractive until the catastrophe arrives, and when it does, there is no opportunity to learn, because learning requires survival. The book uses a powerful idea: career-ending risks are invisible while they are building. They accumulate quietly. People increase leverage gradually. They grow exposure step by step. They normalize higher risk. Each step feels manageable, but collectively, these steps create fragility. Fragile systems appear strong right up until the moment they fail. This is why extreme risks often follow periods of success. Success breeds confidence. Confidence breeds concentration. Concentration breeds vulnerability. The book warns that the most dangerous moment is when things are going well. That is when people feel safest. That is when they relax constraints. That is when they take risks they would never take after a loss. This cycle explains many dramatic collapses. People were not ignorant. They were not careless. They were overconfident. The book contrasts extreme risk-takers with those who endure. Those who endure accept limits. They cap exposure. They diversify outcomes. They plan for failure. Not because they expect to fail, but because they respect uncertainty. Extreme risks also distort behavior. When stakes are too high, people become emotionally invested. They rationalize decisions. They ignore warning signs. They double down to avoid admitting error. This emotional attachment increases the chance of ruin. Moderate risk preserves objectivity. It allows mistakes to be corrected. It allows decisions to be reversed. It allows learning to continue. The book emphasizes reversibility. Reversible decisions are safer. Irreversible decisions are dangerous. Extreme risks are often irreversible. Once taken, they cannot be undone. This is why avoiding them is a strategic choice, not a timid one. The goal is not to avoid risk entirely. The goal is to avoid risks that end participation, because the greatest advantage in any game is the ability to keep playing. Time amplifies modest strategies, but time is unforgiving to fragile ones. The book argues that endurance is built through a series of small, survivable risks. Each one teaches something. Each one strengthens judgment. Each one compounds experience. Extreme risks short-circuit this process. They replace learning with gambling. And gambling, no matter how confident it feels, cannot guarantee survival. This is why the book insists that career-ending risks are not worth the potential reward. No upside compensates for permanent exit, because once you are out, future opportunities no longer matter. Extreme risks promise glory. Survival delivers longevity, and longevity over time wins. Why playing it safe isn't playing small. Playing it safe is often misunderstood. It is labeled as fear, as lack of ambition, as settling for less. But the book challenges this belief directly. Playing it safe is not about avoiding growth. It is about avoiding elimination. There is a profound difference. People confuse boldness with intelligence and caution with weakness. In reality, caution is often strategic strength. The book explains that the most successful long-term outcomes are rarely achieved through dramatic moves. They are achieved through consistency. Consistency requires survival. Survival requires restraint. This is why playing it safe is often the most aggressive long-term strategy available. Playing it safe does not mean avoiding opportunity. It means choosing opportunities that do not threaten continued participation. It means selecting paths that allow mistakes without permanent damage. This distinction is critical. Many people chase big wins because they feel behind. They believe only extreme success can close the perceived gap. But this urgency increases risk. Urgency shortens time horizons. Short horizons encourage dangerous decisions. The book emphasizes that people who play it safe often outperform those who chase extremes because time works in their favor. Small advantages compound. Modest gains accumulate. Mistakes remain survivable. This compounding is invisible at first. In the early stages, playing it safe looks unimpressive. There are no dramatic leaps, no sudden transformations, but time magnifies stability. Those who remain intact eventually pass those who burned out early. The book highlights a counterintuitive truth. The biggest winners are often the least aggressive. They are patient. They are disciplined. They are boring. And boring is powerful. Boring strategies are repeatable. Repeatable strategies scale over time. This is how playing it safe becomes playing to win. The book also reframes risk tolerance. True risk tolerance is not how much risk you can stomach emotionally. It is how much risk your system can absorb financially. People often believe they can handle volatility until volatility arrives. Then they discover that emotional tolerance does not equal financial capacity. Playing it safe aligns decisions with actual capacity, not imagined strength. This alignment prevents forced behavior. Forced behavior is what destroys long-term plans. When losses become threatening, people abandon strategy. They sell at the wrong time. They overreact. They break rules. Playing it safe reduces this pressure. It allows people to stay calm when conditions worsen. Calm preserves decision quality. Decision quality compounds. The book also addresses a common myth that caution limits upside. In reality, caution often increases upside over time by preserving optionality. Optionality means having the ability to take advantage of future opportunities. If capital is intact, new options remain available. If capital is destroyed, options disappear. Playing it safe keeps doors open. It ensures that future luck, when it arrives, can be captured. This is why the book argues that safety and ambition are not opposites. They are partners. Ambition without safety is fragile. Safety without ambition is stagnant, but safety combined with ambition creates durable progress. The book also notes that playing it safe is context dependent. What is safe for one person may be dangerous for another. This is why copying strategies is risky. Each individual's margin of safety depends on their income stability, time horizon, and tolerance for loss. Playing it safe requires self-awareness. It requires honest assessment of what failure would actually mean. Those who understand this design strategies that fit their lives, not abstract ideals. This personalization is what makes safety powerful. The book rejects the idea that there is a single optimal level of risk. Instead, it argues for adaptive risk, risk that adjusts to conditions, risk that decreases when uncertainty rises, risk that increases only when survival is secure. This flexibility is impossible for those who chase extremes. Extreme strategies lock people into positions that cannot be adjusted. Playing it safe preserves flexibility. Flexibility is a form of intelligence. It allows response, not reaction. In the long run, the book concludes, playing it safe is not about playing small. It is about playing forever. And in a game where time multiplies outcomes, those who play forever eventually win. The quiet advantage of staying solvent. Solvency rarely looks impressive. It does not generate headlines. It does not attract attention. It does not feel like progress. But the book argues that solvency is one of the most powerful and most underestimated advantages in any long-term game. To be solvent is simply to remain capable of continuing. It means having enough resources to meet obligations without being forced into desperate decisions. This quiet state changes everything. When you are solvent, time works for you. When you are not, time works against you. The difference is subtle but decisive. People who remain solvent can endure volatility without panic. They do not need immediate solutions. They do not need perfect timing. They can wait. Waiting is power. It allows bad opportunities to pass. It allows good opportunities to mature. It allows mistakes to fade instead of compound. The book emphasizes that solvency is not the same as wealth. You can appear wealthy and still be fragile. High income, high assets, high status, none of these guarantee solvency. Solvency depends on structure. It depends on liquidity, manageable obligations, and flexibility. People often confuse growth with strength. They expand aggressively without reinforcing foundations. As long as conditions remain favorable, this works. But when conditions change, fragility is exposed. Solvency prevents forced behavior. Forced behavior is the enemy of long-term success. When people are under pressure, they accept bad terms. They sell at the wrong time. They take risks they would otherwise avoid. These decisions are not made because they are optimal, but because they feel necessary. The book shows that staying solvent keeps decisions voluntary. Voluntary decisions are higher quality. They are made with clarity, not urgency. Solvency also preserves reputation. When people are forced into desperate moves, mistakes become public. Careers suffer. Trust erodes. Recovery becomes harder. Remaining solvent avoids these spirals. It allows problems to be addressed quietly without drawing attention. This discretion compounds over time. The book highlights that many legendary successes were possible only because solvency was maintained during periods of underperformance. These individuals did not win every year. They did not avoid setbacks. They survived them. Survival allowed learning. Learning improved strategy. Strategy eventually produced success. Without solvency, this sequence breaks. Solvency also influences psychology. Knowing that you can endure reduces stress. Reduced stress improves judgment. Improved judgment reduces error. This feedback loop is invisible but powerful. People who are constantly close to insolvency experience heightened emotion, fear, anxiety, urgency. These emotions distort perception. They make small problems feel catastrophic and large risks feel acceptable. Solvency restores proportion. It allows people to see situations for what they are, not what fear makes them appear to be. The book stresses that solvency is built deliberately. It is not accidental. It requires limits. It requires buffers. It requires saying no to growth that outpaces resilience. These choices often look conservative in the short term. They may appear cautious when others are expanding, but over time, they reveal their strength. Solvency keeps you present when others are eliminated, and presence is everything. Because future opportunity only matters if you are still around to seize it. The book makes a powerful observation. Many people fail not because they were wrong, but because they were right too early and ran out of patience. Solvency extends patience. It allows strategies to unfold at their natural pace. It protects against the temptation to force outcomes. This patience is one of the greatest competitive advantages available. Staying solvent also preserves optionality. It allows you to shift direction when new information emerges. Rigid systems cannot adapt. Flexible systems can. Solvency creates flexibility. Flexibility creates survival. And survival creates the possibility of long-term success. The book does not glorify solvency as an end in itself. It presents it as a foundation that supports risk-taking without inviting ruin. Risk becomes calculated, not desperate. Calculated risk is where intelligent growth occurs. Desperate risk is where careers end. In the long run, those who stay solvent do not merely survive, they quietly outperform. Because when others are forced out, they remain. And remaining is the most underrated advantage of all. The only way to win is to avoid losing. At first, this idea sounds too simple to be powerful. Avoid losing. It feels passive. It feels defensive. It feels like something that cannot possibly lead to greatness. But the book insists that this principle is the foundation of every lasting success story. Winning is not about extraordinary moments. It is about avoiding irreversible ones. Most people think success is built by making bold moves. In reality, it is built by not making fatal mistakes. The book reframes winning as a process of elimination. Eliminate risks that end participation. Eliminate decisions that remove future options. Eliminate exposure to outcomes that cannot be recovered from. What remains is not stagnation. It is durability. Durability allows time to work. And time, more than intelligence, more than prediction, more than confidence, is the ultimate advantage. The book explains that most losses are not evenly distributed. They cluster around rare but extreme events. These events are not predictable. They cannot be timed. They cannot be reasoned away. But their impact can be limited. Avoiding losing does not require foresight. It requires structure. Structure that limits downside. Structure that preserves flexibility. Structure that prevents a single mistake from defining an entire future. People often misunderstand this approach because it lacks drama. There is no single breakthrough moment, no dramatic turning point. Progress happens quietly, but quiet progress compounds. Those who avoid losing remain present for opportunity after opportunity. They benefit from luck when it appears. They learn from mistakes without being destroyed by them. This is why the book argues that success is often the result of subtraction, not addition. Subtract fragility. Subtract overconfidence. Subtract exposure to ruin. What remains is not caution, it is clarity. Clarity about what truly matters. Money is not meant to maximize excitement. It is meant to protect continuity. Continuity allows compounding, and compounding does not require genius. It requires patience and survival. The book contrasts two mindsets. One seeks to win every round. The other seeks to stay in the game. The first is impressive until it fails. The second is invisible until it outlasts everyone else. Avoiding losing also changes behavior. People stop chasing short-term validation. They stop reacting to noise. They stop making decisions to prove something. Instead, they build systems that work across many outcomes. This reduces emotional volatility. Reduced volatility improves consistency. Consistency is what turns ordinary decisions into extraordinary results over time. The book highlights that avoiding losing does not eliminate ambition. It disciplines it. Ambition becomes long-term. It becomes strategic. It becomes patient. People who adopt this mindset are willing to grow slowly because they understand that slow growth that survives beats fast growth that collapses. This is why the book's title matters. Tails, you win. It means that even when outcomes are mixed, even when luck does not always cooperate, you still win as long as you remain intact. Losses may occur, mistakes may happen, bad luck may appear, but none of these end the journey. And because the journey continues, probability eventually works in your favor. The book reminds us that history does not reward brilliance alone. It rewards persistence. Those who avoid losing are not immune to setbacks. They simply refuse to let setbacks become endings. This refusal is not weakness, it is discipline. Discipline to accept modest returns. Discipline to limit exposure. Discipline to say no when a decision threatens survival. In the long run, this discipline separates those who flash briefly from those who endure. Avoiding losing may not feel like winning, but over time, it becomes the only strategy that reliably does. Because the greatest victory is not beating others in a single moment. It is remaining when others are gone. Most people spend their lives trying to win. They search for the perfect strategy, the perfect moment, the perfect decision that will finally put them ahead. But this book has quietly shown you a different truth. Winning is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is not about being right every time. It is about never being wrong in a way that ends everything. Life and money are not fair games. They do not reward intelligence consistently. They do not protect effort from bad luck. But they do offer one powerful advantage to those who understand the rules. They allow time to work. Time favors those who remain. Throughout this book, you have seen the same idea repeat itself from different angles. That survival beats brilliance. That avoiding catastrophic loss matters more than chasing extraordinary gain. That patience outperforms prediction. None of these ideas are dramatic. They do not promise fast success. They do not appeal to ego. They do not impress crowds. But they work. They work quietly. They work slowly. And they work reliably. The greatest financial victories are often invisible while they are happening. They look like restraint. They look like missed opportunities. They look like playing it safe. Until years later, when the people who chased extremes are no longer part of the game. This is when the real winners become visible. Not because they made the boldest moves, but because they were still standing after countless moves had been made. This book was not written to make you fearless. It was written to make you durable. Durability is what allows courage to exist without recklessness. It allows ambition to grow without self-destruction. It allows risk without ruin. You do not need to win every round. You do not need to be smarter than everyone else. You do not need to predict the future accurately. You only need one thing: to stay in the game. Because if you stay in the game, probability eventually bends in your favor. Good decisions compound. Experience compounds. Luck averages out. But none of that matters if one mistake removes you entirely. This is the meaning behind the title. Tails, you win. It reminds you that mixed outcomes are not failure. That setbacks are not defeat. That survival itself is success. When you design your life and finances around staying solvent, flexible, and patient, you give yourself the rarest advantage of all: time. And with time, even ordinary decisions become extraordinary. So do not chase the illusion of constant victory. Build a life that cannot be easily destroyed. Avoid the risks that end the journey. Protect your ability to continue. Because in the long run, the only way to truly win is to make sure you never lose in a way that removes you from the game. That is how quiet endurance becomes lasting success. And that is how, even when the coin does not land your way, you still win.